Hi, these comments are for JJ. This is Michael from BetterTOEFLScores.com. Let's take a look at your email. Let's get right down to it. So you're one of my TOEFL Speaking Bootcamp course students. You need to get that 26 or higher, and you had a question you wanted to ask me about speaking. You said, may I ask you more questions? I don't know why, but so many questions pop up into my mind these days. You know what? You are an active learner. That's exactly why you're doing that. You are the dream student. Any TOEFL mentor would want, it is you. Because you're going to be the next person, I really believe, to get higher than 26 on the TOEFL exam from my group of students I'm teaching right now. I got faith. You said, I recently learned some English expressions that sound very natural from YouTube, but I'm concerned whether I can use these in pair choice type questions of independent TOEFL speaking tasks. Okay, so let's take a look at the video just quickly, and let me make sure I give proper credit here. So who is this? I'm going to click here.
Brilliant is the best place to learn science interactively.
Okay,
It
let's
gets
get
you
rid of
hands-on
the.
to help you learn by doing.
일단 제가 여러 번 강조했었던 부드러운 대표적인 표현 세 가지만 리뷰해 볼게요. 이건 진짜 제가 지겹도록 리뷰시켜드리고 있는데 그만큼 여러분이 꼭
Okay, so here's the video, and in the video, the instructor, I'm assuming, is explaining in Korean different kinds of phrasal verbs that you can use. Does she give some examples? A good deal for this. Isn't necessarily. Okay. Let me look at some more here. It's more of a suggestion. I'm more of a waffle person. Oh, how contrary. Okay. Get how to make stress for your friend. Let's see. I wouldn't necessarily ask for more stressful experiences in my life, but this science has given me a whole new appreciation for stress. So these are kind of like, in some cases, these are templates, it looks like. I actually like this one because you have that but to create the compound sentence. It creates a fairly complicated sentence, right? So let's go back to your question. So now I have some context. You say, I'm concerned whether I can use these in pair choice type questions of the independent TOEFL speaking. It says, I'm not sure I agree with the statement 100%. Say, if I want to use this when I gently disagree, does the statement sound too vague? No. No, it's very natural. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Or I'm more of a dog person. Is studying or using phrasal verbs very helpful to improve TOEFL speaking scores? Ring out, pick out, look up to, let on, come down with, pass up, and so on. Okay, I got an idea here. Okay, so let's go to the horse's mouth here. Right? So let's look at the 4. And let's see what it says about language use. The response demonstrates effective use of grammar and vocabulary. It exhibits a fairly high degree of automaticity, which means that you can say things quickly. You can pick out the words, you can pick out the grammar. You don't have to think about it too much. It's automatic to you. You have good control of basic and complex structures. I think this is giving us some clues right here. Some minor or systematic errors are noticeable, but do not obscure meaning. Now, the other idea here, I think we have to be careful about our vocabulary because we get to this what's called well-developed and coherent. The ideas are clear, right? You don't want to use vague expressions, or you don't want to get too general and too vague that you're not precise in how you explain your ideas. Okay, so I think what I'm going to say here, remember that anybody at YouTube, please share the video and let's get other people's opinions on this. So the question here, to what degree can you use what we call idiomatic or type phrasal verb type language during the speaking section, especially the independent task of the TOEFL speaking? That's kind of the question, right? So to go back here, I'm going to say yes to a degree. The TOEFL wants to know that you can use basic vocabulary, and everything that you're telling me here is pretty basic. Let's take a look at some of the vocabulary words that you've included here. You have, I'm not sure I agree with the statement 100%. Notice how within that sentence there's only one word that's more than one syllable. So that's a very basic grammar and very basic vocabulary. The next one, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. So you have thing, bad, it's kind of unclear. Thing is a little bit basic. Necessarily is a better word. It's a multisyllabic word there. Is it more of a dog thing? Ring up. Okay, ring up, pick out, look up to, let, come, pass, and so. Okay, so I think I can answer your question now. Okay, because of what it says here, I'm going to say yes. I think on the one hand, using some of these sentences or some of these phrasal verbs, I think, they can be effective because it's considered basic, either basic grammar or basic vocabulary. And if you do it quickly without pauses, it shows you have good automaticity and you're speaking similar to a native speaker. So I think that's a good sign. However, if that's all you do and you only use those kinds of words and only those kinds of expressions, then it limits you from having what's called complex vocabulary and complex grammar. Right? So I'm going to say, yes, you can use some of these expressions and you can use some of these phrasal verbs as long as it doesn't make up the entire response, because you want to show you have good control over both basic vocabulary and grammar, but also complex or more advanced vocabulary and advanced grammar. So those are my comments on that. Anybody at YouTube, if you guys want to include some comments below, put them right below the video. So I think it would be important not to only use this type of vocabulary or this type of grammar during the entire speaking task. Maybe 15 or 20 seconds of it, you can use some of these expressions. But the rest of it, I encourage you to use some longer, more precise college level type words and so on to express your ideas.